Okay, guys, welcome to this Cricket Strengths presentation, and we're bringing you a webinar today on the top 5 reasons you are not bowling faster. We're also joined today by our movement specialist, Av Armstrong, who screened hundreds and hundreds of cricketers from pros down to the academy, and so he's seen a lot of the faults and dysfunctions that are going on as well. So, Gav, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Vic. Looking forward to it.
Cool. Right, everyone, we'll crack straight on. Want it to be a fairly sort of punchy presentation. We know everyone's time poor these days, so we're not going to keep you too long. We just want to give you the 5 reasons that are holding you back, and then you can see if any are actually affecting you, and you can put it right from there. And just wait to the end because we've got a nice little offer for you as well. So let's dive in. So who are we? Well, I'm a professional in the game for over 20 years. Started in the early 2000s with Somerset, and then went to Northants as lead S&C in 2004, and then came to Worcester, lead S&C again in 2009, and I've been there since then. So a fairly long time. I've seen the game go from part-time to full-time. So when I first started at Somerset, it was very much sort of a part-time game. They played 6 months in the summer and had 6 months off. And most of them went and got jobs, and training was sort of something they might have done twice a week at night and things like this. And the training was very similar to exactly the same as your normal person would get going to the gym. So there was nothing really in there specifically for cricketers, no matter what they were, batters, bowlers, keepers, or whatever. So it was an interesting time to see the transition. And I've witnessed across 20 years poor programs lead to players leaving the game due to injury. And it's always a tragedy, really, when someone's got a lot of talent and they can't fulfill it because of injury. And a lot of it can be taken back into some poor programming and poor sort of choices, really. I've seen fast bowlers get slower despite training hard, and that's a massive frustration. You see it on their face. They think they're doing all the right things, the things they get told to do, and they're working hard all the time. And things just aren't translating on the pitch. And again, that's something we need to stamp out. So we found that the foundations that work for pace bowlers. So through the 20 years, the hundreds and hundreds of players I've worked with, Gav screened, and we're bringing in a lot of stuff that Steph's working on. We found a formula which is actually helping a lot of cricketers, and that's what we started out to do. And so why are we doing this? Like we said, players aren't getting quicker. It's mad. Players are training really hard, a lot harder than they used to, but the pace isn't going up. There should be question marks about why. There's more and more injuries in the game. Backs, hamstrings, sides, shoulders, everything. The injuries are going up and up. And the ones really that we're trying to stamp out are soft tissue injuries. So your hamstring pulls, your side strains, things like that we need to get on top of, because the soft tissue ones are the ones we can control. The stress fractures are a lot more coming into play, but we really need to work out the soft tissue ones. Like we said, massive frustrations around big training hard, and then you get into the season, you trained in the gym, sweated your socks off all winter, and getting nothing back for it. It's still the same pace as last year. So no excuses. Let's get after it. Let's dive in. So number 5 is not knowing if you're a static or spring athlete. Now, if you don't know this, you don't understand what your physical limitations are. There's no point in keep hitting strength if you're already strong enough. And that's what we see a lot. Kids just do strength and strength and strength and strength, and don't understand actually, am I static based or am I spring based, and which one of those continuums or end of the continuum do they need to work on. So that's why understanding your body is so important. If you don't understand how you move and what your body does, then we're going to be struggling. And what it can do is help with the action as well. If you're training against what your body is, it's not going to have any carryover at all. So let's just watch this little video, which will explain how you can do simple tests from home to find out what you are.
Today we're going to go through how to use jumping and how to use it to try and assess whether you're a static or spring athlete. So we're going to take you through 3 different variations you can use, and all you'll be doing, or all the equipment you need, is measuring that. Okay, so the first one is a hands on the hip jump. So hands on the hip, and we're doing a broad jump, and then we're going to measure the distance, obviously, from where you start to where you land. Then we're going to get the upper body involved. So the arms come up, come down, and then we see if that connection from the upper to lower body, you're able to get more distance than just using your lower body alone. So again, you don't need any equipment for this, just a measuring mat or a measuring stick or something like that. And then finally, we're going to go into seeing if you can use your stretch shortening cycle. So basically with this, you start, take a step back. From there, you're going to do a little mini jump to the starting point and then into your broad jump. What this is doing is testing your stretch shortening cycle and your ability to power off. Now, obviously, we're hoping this one is going to be the longest one of all. But if it's not, then we know where you can go back in and have a little look where you might have some deficiencies and where you can improve.
So very basic there. So you can just do it with a measuring stick. But what you'll find out is if you're static or spring. So if you're spring, it means the one with a counter movement jump, the little jump just before, that if that's longer, you'll be spring dominant. If it's not, then you're more likely to be static. So that's a very easy and simple way to do it just with a measuring stick.
Today we're going to...
Okay, number 4. People go straight into specifics, and that's what we see a lot of, especially in this Instagram age. You know, you're watching a video and you're seeing some funky drill and you want to go straight to it. And that's a big issue. If you haven't done the work before, just going to that end of the continuum is not wise, because a lot of things that can go wrong. Even with stuff like weighted bulwark, we use a lot of weighted bulwark. Steph's pioneered it. But if you haven't got a good scapular base, if your scapula in thoracic and shoulder aren't all working together and all working as they should, you might run into trouble with weighted bulwark. So that's why we need to get the base, need to tick off each body part and see that that's working properly before we can move on. I would say they want to miss the foundations and go straight there. They want to miss the first course and go straight for the dessert. And it just ends in tears, unfortunately. The body is not able to cope and not able to help you change. They want to change the action before doing the foundational work. And we can't do that. We need to lay the base, get the body working, and it's like opening up any roadblocks through the body, from the foot, up the ankle, knee, hip, your trunk, your thoracic, scapular, shoulder, all the way through. The last point that comes out is your hand, and people almost go straight to the shoulder and hand, trying to work out an action without looking at the body and seeing exactly what's going on. So you need a battery of assessments you can keep going back to, where you can understand where each of those body parts are. So if you then got a clear ankle and a clear knee, but you see the hips not working as it should, you know there's a potential roadblock there, and we have to open it up to allow the kinetic stream to come and work as it should, and then we can get into those specifics. But without it, if we've got roadblocks in your core, in your hip, in your thoracic, it's just not going to work. So like a big thing Steph always says, assess, don't guess. And that is so true. And that's what we did with our mobility plan. We put in at each level a very simple assessment to go in, and you can see where you are compared to where we want you to be. And if you're not where we want to be on 2 or 3, that's a red flag, and we know it's an issue that we need to go back in and have a look at. Number 3, not doing a movement assessment. So that's going on nicely from the last thing. These should be the foundation before starting any program. Now I'm going to let Gav speak a little bit now, because like I said, he's done hundreds and hundreds of cricket screening programs. So Gav, what are the common faults that you see?
Because we've been doing this for so long now, it's no surprise that the nature of the sport puts you in set positions where the body is under stress and under load. I think the biggest issue that we've seen is that combination of bowling and then adding in the gym work on top of it. And I think over a period of time, bodies just develop so many dysfunctions and issues that the extra stress and load going through the body causes problems with injury. But the main thing for me, a very quick 1-minute story that I'll tell you about how this whole journey of understanding movement has come to sort of a lynching point now, where we're pretty clear on what players need. Is a few years ago, started working with a first-class county at the time, and one of the lads went up there to see the bowling coach. The bowling coach assessed his bowling, gave him his bowling technical work at the beginning of the winter, speed gunned him as well. He came back and worked on a program with us over the winter period. But because he had a few physical issues within the body, he didn't do any technical work on his bowling action. So 3 months later, the first class county bowling coach came down, took video footage, praised the lads, said, great, unbelievable. You've really, A, you've met the new positions we'd like you to get into, and B, you're bowling 5 mile an hour quicker. And then the coach asked him, he said, well, how much time a week did you put into your drill work? He said, I haven't even started yet. Now, the technical coach looked a little bit bemused and shocked, but all this player did is spent 6 to 8 weeks clearing up his ankle, adding stability to his hip, making sure he had range of motion in his thoracic spine. We took away the roadblocks. When those roadblocks disappeared, the body could move freely and the body could move in an effective way. And what we've learned with speed and bowling quicker is the brains are very clever. It has hold of the brakes, if that makes sense. So you can only go fast in one direction as well as the body can safely slow you down. And what we did with this lad, we took away all of the roadblocks, took away the braking system, and over a short period of time, without even touching bowling or his technique, he added 5 miles an hour and he was in a far better position to deliver the ball. So I can't stress enough that we won't work with anybody now until this phase is done, because the rest of it is a complete waste of your time.
Yeah, and we've seen it in the pros you've worked with as well. Once, like we said, we remove the roadblocks, we go back in movement assessment, give them the program to come from that, like we've done on our new ultimate mobility plan, and then we go back and see without the technical coach coming in, things are changing how we want to. It's quite easy actually to go in, backload the right things, and suddenly the end product's a lot better. And then when you do work hand in hand with a technical coach, great things can happen. When the technical coach and an S&C or movement specialist are working separately and not quite knowing what the other one's doing, then we can get confusion, one doing one thing, one doing the other. But if they work together, good things can happen. And think of a movement assessment like, you know, when you get a new program or you go to a gym, they always say, go and see a doctor or go see a physician or just get checked out and get your blood pressure done. A movement assessment for cricket is almost like that. It's almost something we go back to every month, or we can do it every week if we've got something that we found is not quite right, and just see how we are on that. And it only takes 2, 3, 4 minutes max to go through and say, right, can we tick that off now? Or do we still need to work on that? So if we don't tick it off, we need to keep going with it until we can, and then we can move forward. And the big thing, strength on dysfunction causes injury every damn time. So we've got to be smart. We've got to get ahead of the game. We've got to get out of this mindset that we're just going to go squat in deadlift and then we're going to go and bowl and we're going to get quicker. We're not. If that was the case, every powerlifter in the world would be able to bowl quick, but they can't. Fast bowling is a specialist thing. You need to know how your body works. You need to know exactly what you need, and then great things can happen. And then it's something to keep constantly on top of all the time. Like I say, keep going back to it, keep seeing how the body is. And once we unblock everything, great things happen. Now, number 2 is quite a big thing. It's not bowling all year round. It's something I've only learned in the last year. A lot of talking with Steph as well, is suddenly shutting down bowling for 3-4 months doesn't really help much. Unless you've got an injury, which means you have to have rehabilitation, recovery time, and you can't physically bowl, there's no reason not to keep bowling. Maybe you have like 3-4 weeks off, keep ticking over with some things, and those 3-4 weeks is great to get back into the body, get the mobility plan out, see where your roadblocks have started to come up and work on them. But then let's get back to bowling. You know, if you want to be better bowling, if you want to be a quicker bowler, you need to do it all the time. So just suddenly come back in February and March and think things are going to click in because you've been in the gym for 3-4 months, that's going to help. It's not. You need to put the two together. It's like a sprinter not doing any form of sprint work until they get back to the track. And what we can do is integrate bowling changes into it as well. You know, if you need to work on some things, again, there's no good waiting for 2 months before the season start. Let's get it going early. Like I say, if there's no physical limitations not to, let's do it. And it doesn't have to be flat out. You don't have to come November if you're in the UK and you're running off 30 yards, you know, winging the ball down. It can be all sorts of things. On our 1-to-1 plan, they have a ball in their hand after week 3, pretty much. And they're going through some stuff, whether it be half kneeling drills or just some technique stuff. there is some form of bowling in there. So number 2 for me, not bowling all year round, is pretty crucial. And remember, you don't have to be going heavy in the gym to keep bowling. Like I said, you can almost tick over and then be doing your other work, your sort of mobility conditioning work at the same time. And number 1, now this is something that Steph's pioneered. He's brought into cricket, and it's something, you know, we've brought into, and we've seen amazing things. But we've also seen with the people who don't do it, that they're struggling a little bit. And it's not knowing if you're a hip or knee dominant bowler. Now, it's pretty crucial. So when it comes to understanding what you need cricket-wise, this really is, for fast bowlers, up there is one of the biggest things. You know, we see things like a knee dom, a heavy knee dom bowler training the wrong way. And we've seen hip dom bowlers train the wrong way and then they're actually changing into knee dom bowlers. So you can be working against yourself massively. Whereas if it's almost like a train track. You've got it going forward as a hip dom bowler, and then it's changing. So the tracks are narrowing and then they're almost crossing. So we need to know exactly what you are so that we can train effectively and get you quicker. Like we say, it can decrease your effectiveness and increase injury, which we don't want that. We don't need it. And we'll make all the medie ball drills work against you, because you could be training one way that you think you used to bowl with the medie balls, but your bowling is totally different. Now, with the medie balls, you always need to be drilling how you want to be bowling. But say you're drilling for a hip dom and then you're doing loads and loads of strength and loads of watt bike work and stuff like that, and you're becoming knee dom, the two things aren't going to marry up. And we're going to leave pace on the table, which we don't want to do. So a very quick snapshot, the difference between a knee and a hip dom. It's all at back foot contact. See on the left there, so it's a knee dom as the knee is bent at back foot there. On the right, it's fairly straight all the way up there, back foot contact, okay? So that's a really easy way to see it. Also, you can look at the angle of the foot. If the foot is sort of 45 degrees or more, they tend to be a knee dom bowler. 45 degrees or less, hip dom, okay? So very simple ways, get some footage. And another thing, if you haven't got footage of your bowling, how do you know what's going on? You know, everyone's got a camera phone now. Pretty much most people have got iPads, or your coach will have one. Just grab them and say, can you film me? I need to know exactly what's happening, okay? So hip or knee dom, crucial. So in closing, if we get this right, you'll see your speed improve, which is what we all want, speed to improve and injuries to go down. Get specific with your own body, okay? Don't waste time. Get the movement right with the mobility plan, get the strength, and then get into specifics. It's a very simple formula, and you follow it and you get great things. And make sure it's right for you, not your mate who's joined the club or one of your bowlers, the lad at the other end from you. It has to be right for you. It could be two completely different bowlers, okay? So what we've got is a little bit of a special offer for you guys. Now, if you want to start making real strides, we've got this for you. If you purchase our brand new mobility plan today, not only will we give you £10 off, it used to be $49.99, we'll give it to you for $39.99, and we'll give you the 3 free programs that we stopped last week. And if you send us an email of your bowling, I'll give you a free bowling analysis so you know exactly what you need to do. So that can be bad. You just send it to ross@cricketstrength.com. Once you've joined up, I'll analyze it, send it back to you, tell you what sort of bowler you are and the sort of things you need to be working on. But this will only be from when you finish watching this for the next 24 hours. So there's a link to click on. So if you go to cricketstrength.com, just go to Ultimate Mobility, click on it, join up, send us an email with your bowling, and we will get it done for you. Okay? Let's get after it. Let's leave nothing out there. Do the work, get specific, get on your mobility plan. That gets all the foundations laid, and suddenly you'll see great things start to happen with your action. So there it is. You've got 24 hours. Enjoy.